All right, so we are 2 weeks post Olympia. Where did this time go, man? This is crazy. I haven't given a public opinion or update on the Olympia because I've been traveling and I've had jet lag for the last week and trying to get caught up at work, trying to get caught up with doing work around the house. I've had a lot going on. New irrigation system put in my front and backyard. New landscaping altogether. The fall is the perfect time to put seeds down, to plant new grass, so we did that. I've been just busy. But the Olympia, that 2018 Olympia is come and gone. To me, it was a success, considering everything I've gone through, considering my advanced age and injuries, and considering the machine that I'm battling against. When you're old, ask Dexter Jackson how he feels about this Olympia. And there's younger, better looking guys coming up. You know, they tend to be pushed, maybe prematurely. But I don't want to get too far into that, because at the same time, these athletes didn't do anything wrong per se, so they deserve a congratulations. Just like when I was placing well at the Olympia, when I placed second in the Olympia, there may have been people that thought I didn't deserve to place there, and I'm not sure how I would have felt if they were voicing that. So congratulations to Derek Lunsford for having a great physique, a great look. He's certainly going to be something in the future. Super congratulations to Kamal. Kamal had a torn calf. A lot of people didn't know. Monday, he was posing for his coach, Chris Aceto, and pop, his calf exploded. And not many people noticed it, but if you go back and look at pictures, his right calf is probably 21 inches, where his left one was like 16. It was huge. So for him to be able to get out there and pose and keep it tight and keep his mind together and place a well-deserving third, arguably should have been better, that's amazing. So congratulations to Kamal. In fourth place, I mean, obviously congrats to Flex. This was the best Flex Lewis I've ever seen in my life. He was huge, hard, conditioned. Every single word you could come up with to describe awesomeness was him. It was definitely by far the best. You know, and I was backstage with him, and he was complaining of some stomach pains, and he was really concerned that, you know, he might be, you know, he felt bloated, and man, when he got on stage, none of that was apparent. His skin was perfect, he was tight, he was, you know, everything, he nailed it 1,000,000%. So, you know, I personally look forward to seeing what he can do in the future. And I don't know if he wants me saying it, but he was well under the 212 limit on at the Olympia. So for him to look the way he did, all these rumors of him to be, you know, 230, if he's 230 in that condition, he could win the Open Olympia. Mark my words. Another 20 pounds on that and looking the same, keeping the same tight waist with full muscles and that condition, sure, he could win. Congratulations to Ahmad. Ahmad obviously wasn't his best, Ahmad Ashkenani. I didn't know this, but he apparently had some off-season knee surgeries, or his legs were big. They look bigger than they've been, but they, you know, he's being, I don't know how to say, his legs were not as conditioned as could be. At least that's what people are saying, you know. but he beat me. So they were conditioned enough. I think his entire package, he's just so big and wide. That was what was able for him to beat me. Me, I've been better, but under the circumstances, I don't think I could have been better. I think that was the very absolute best I could have been. My condition was nuts. Sometimes it doesn't show in photos or video, but I was absolutely peeled. My skin was as thin as could be. You know, I kept my waist in check. I'm very pleased with the effort I put in the product, the final product that I was able to display. You know, sometimes it just, you know, Father Time catches up and there's not a whole lot you could do. Looking back, you know, I remember Jay Cutler saying this, if he had to do it over again, he would have stopped in 2009 and just ended it there. I don't know that I would have stopped in 2015, but, you know, if this is the last you're going to remember of me, my last time on stage, you know, so you want it to be the biggest, craziest look that you can have. You know, would I want that? Or would I want, I don't know that I would trade the experience that I had on Saturday night for anything. Where a full house, you know, gave me a standing ovation. And I got to have I have chills down my spine thinking about it. You know, when you're in it, when you're in the moment, when you're training, when you're competing, when you're doing all these things, you don't really get to appreciate what is going on around you and what you're doing because you're so laser focused on being your best. As the days and hours and weeks have gone by now, and you know, I see that video of me standing on stage alone with thousands of fans saying goodbye to me. There's no greater feeling on earth of validation and appreciation for my time as a bodybuilder. So I don't know that I would ever trade that for anything. A couple of things I want to mention, a couple people that I didn't get a chance to. Is Robin Chang. He is the promoter and the organizer of the Olympia and many other events across the world. And I gotta say, he's one of the hardest working guys in the industry, and a pure gentleman, and a awesome guy. I've gotten to know him through the years, and he's just great hard worker, and I want to thank him for everything he's done and all the hard work he's put in and the events. He travels the world. He was in Korea with us, and he's going to be in Japan. So thank you, Robin. Another one, and I'm thinking in terms of gentlemen, people who are just, you know, classy guys that I look up to within the industry. You know, at the Olympia, I already thanked the entire Olympia committee. Obviously, Jim Mannion, the Mannion family, Steve Weinberger, Bev Francis, for everything they've done for me. But outside of them, I was sitting at the press conference, and you know, this is sort of where my rant, my speech of having a little bit of class came from. I was looking down, sitting in the front row was Dan Solomon, and my mind just started ticking. You know, I see this little kid run down, and he had a suit on, a little boy, probably 7 years old, and he runs up. I'm like, this kid's a sharp-looking dude. And he runs up and jumps in his dad's arms and sits on his lap, and Dan gives him a big hug and a kiss. It's Dan's son, apparently. And I'm thinking, you know, while everyone else is talking around me, I'm being quiet, but I'm watching this happen, and I'm like, man, out of all the accolades I've had in bodybuilding or anything else in life, that's the one thing I don't have. That's the one thing I'm super envious of. It's not of a car, it's not of a house, it's not of a private jet or anything like that. It's of a beautiful little boy running up to you and jumping in your arms. And you know, I'm thinking in that moment, like, what a classy dude, what a classy family, where, you know, he dressed this kid this morning and he looked like $1 million, and they both had suits on, and they were so, you know, overwhelmed being in each other's arms. And I'm like, that's the one thing in the world I don't have that I am envious of. And Dan has always spoken highly of me and always done a great job on the play-by-play, and just a great guy all around. And, you know, and at that moment, you know, maybe a minute later, they asked me a question, and the word class just kept coming to my mind. And yeah, that was Dan Solomon in a nutshell right there. So thank you, Dan, for all you do, and always having my back, and, you know, not running my name through the mud, rather than you lifted me up, and I always appreciate that. One more person is, if you guys noticed my posing routine. I've posed to Journey maybe 5 times at the Olympia, and probably 10 throughout my years. And I knew I was going to pose to it because it was always such a sentimental song, and it meant so much to me. Don't Stop Believing, because even at, you know, my age and with injuries, and I always know that anything is possible, and as long as you believe, you know, you can achieve. You can do what you set out to do. So I was in Tampa, and I was meeting with Peter McGuff, who's one of my all-time favorite people. You want to talk class, you want to talk gentleman. When you look those words up, there's a picture of Peter in the dictionary. I love that guy. And we were talking, and, you know, he was excited to be able to come out and see me at my last Olympia. And unfortunately, he didn't make it, but he had said to me, he's like, Jose, you got to pose to My Way, Frank Sinatra. And so I ended up putting it in, mixing Don't Stop Believing with My Way. And that was my little tribute to Peter at the Olympia, putting that song in. I knew he wasn't there, but he was there with all of us. He was there with me in spirit, and I'm sure he was watching on the live stream where he could. So thank you, Peter, for everything you do, man. You're an unbelievable human. You know that. You hear it from everyone around the world. Everybody loves you, and everyone's pulling for you. So so that was it. The Olympia was an amazing experience. I had a ton of friends and family out there, and obviously lots of fans, and didn't win. It was my lowest placing since my first year. So that kind of hurt. But the level of talent at the Olympia has risen since my first year as well. So I'm okay. I'm okay with it. A week later, I flew to Korea to compete. Now, this has been an ongoing thing. I'll place 2nd at the Olympia, and then 4th in Korea. 3rd at the Olympia, and then 3rd and 4th in Korea. Different judges see things differently. Different judges like different types of physiques. That's the tough part about bodybuilding and physique and pageantry of the fitness industry, because there's no real set criteria. It's a matter of opinion. The judges, you know, my conditioning was bananas in Korea, just like it was at the Olympia. But the certain judges, the judge that judges Korea every year doesn't see it the same as the Olympia judges or the Olympia head judge. So each year my placing goes down in Korea. I'm smiling because it's painful, but it's almost comical at the same time. There's really no right or wrong. Nobody's right or wrong because like I said, there's no criteria. But Hadi Chupan won. David Henry was second. David's my boy. Congratulations to him. And there was another Persian, Mason. He was third, and I was fourth. So, that's that. It is what it is. I ended up getting stuck at the airport Sunday morning. Spent from 7 a.m. I was supposed to have a 9:20 flight. I was there from 7 a.m. to 5:40. Long story. It was terrible, but I got home, been working, got back into my cardio, back into dieting. My weight hasn't gone up. I'm a little glazed over. I'm holding a little bit of water, but I'm only about 212 right now, which is crazy. I could blow up at any moment if I really wanted, but I've kept a good eye on things. And I'm 2 weeks out from the Dominican Republic coat of arms. That is Victor Martinez and John De La Rosa's show. They're promoting down there October 13th. So I have 2 weeks to really put it together. As I said, I've done a good job of keeping my weight in check, and all I got to do is drop the hammer for the next 2 weeks, and I'll be great. Typically, as I go through the tour, the last few years I've gotten better and better and tighter, and so hopefully that trend continues, and I do well there. And then 4 weeks after that, we go to Tokyo, Japan, and do Hide's show. So we get a lot going on. I'm working, I'm training people, training my online clients, training myself, doing work around the house, which I will do a little video update to show you all the work since you guys saw it last October. Man, is it different. So that's it. That's where we're at. That was one more Olympia. It was a success depending on who you ask. It was awesome. And one more last person I need to thank. And I was on stage at the Olympia, had an opportunity to do so. And sometimes the people closest to you completely forget because it goes without saying, but Chris Aceto has not only been a coach, a friend, a mentor to me for the last 7 years. 7 years. And truly and honestly, the only person on earth who believed in me. Who really thought in his heart of hearts that I could win the Olympia. And he's probably one of the main factors that I believed I could win. I didn't win, but I believed up until that moment, up until the very last minute, that I could be one of the best out there. So without Chris, I likely wouldn't have even been in the 5th spot. I likely wouldn't even be competing today. Chris has definitely helped my longevity in the sport. Without him, God knows, I might have gone off the rails. I might have done things differently in an unhealthy manner. Chris's first and foremost thing with me has always been how I feel, how my health is, and how I live outside of bodybuilding. That's what I love about Chris. You don't just ask, how's your cardio today, how's your training, how's your diet? He's like, how's the lawn? how's the deck coming? How's he knows that all those things play a big role in my life and how my mind works. Because if the house is good and things are going good around the house, then likely things are good with my diet, things are good with my training. So thank you, Chris. I can't stress enough how important of a role you've played in not only my my physique and my competition, but in my life. And some people say, oh, is it really worth paying a prep coach? Are you shitting me? Particularly Chris. Money is like the furthest thing from my thoughts when I think of Chris. So I would do it all over again 1,000,000 times and pay him quadruple. So that's it. Thank you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Alright, this is the Boston Mass. Thanks again for watching. Now, if you're not subscribing, subscribe now. Tell all your friends to subscribe. If you haven't, do it now. Alright?